Hey everyone, Jake here for American Trucks, and in this video we're taking a look at the Mammoth 2.5-inch front leveling kit fitting 2011 and newer 4-wheel drive F-250 Super Duties. This kit is perfect for the F-250 owner who wants the room to fit larger wheels and tires and more ground clearance, but doesn't want to spend a fortune. This one is going to give you everything you need to get some more height out of the front end of your F-250, and it comes in at a great price. As always, we'll start with the thing that you all really want to know, and that's how big of a tire you can fit on your truck with this kit. Since this is a 2.5-inch lift for the front, you're going to be able to get up to 35-inch tires on there without the need for trimming or other modifications. Now, most trucks come with some forward rake from the factory, and the F-250 is no exception. If you're not familiar with the term, look at your truck directly from the side and you'll see that the front end sits a little bit lower than the rear. Now, adding a front leveling kit like this one does exactly what it says on the box, and it's going to level out the stance of your truck by lifting up the front end. To get you that lift, this kit includes a number of things. Perhaps most importantly, you get a set of coil spring spacers to physically give your truck the additional height. These are effectively going to lift your truck without altering the spring rate or the travel that they have, which helps maintain factory ride quality. Also included in the kit are some shock extensions, sway bar drop brackets, and bump stop extensions. Now, all of these things combine with those spring spacers to give you that additional height without drastically altering your truck's suspension geometry. That is to say, despite that extra height, your truck is going to drive very similarly to what it did right from the factory. So you'll get that additional height that you're looking for, your truck's going to look cooler, and you don't have to sacrifice. The brackets and spacers that are included in this kit are all made using heavy-duty steel plate that is covered by a black powder coat, and that's going to help protect against rust and corrosion. You also get aluminum bump stop extensions. Everything here is pretty good quality, it's nice to look at, it feels good in your hand, and the welds look pretty nice as well. So these should be able to stand up to pretty much whatever you can throw at them out on the street or trail. And in addition to that, you get all the necessary hardware and brake line brackets that you need included in the kit, so that's going to make the installation process about as simple as it can be. Pricing comes in at about $225, and that makes this a very affordable option to get some extra height on your truck. It's definitely a value play, but you aren't compromising on build or material quality, so if you want that height without having to spend a ton of money, this is a great choice. Installation gets a 2 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and the job should take you around 3 hours to complete. This is a totally bolt-on setup, so it's not going to require you to make any permanent modifications to your truck. There is still quite a bit to do here. Just make sure you've got plenty of time and patience allotted, especially if you've never messed with suspension components before. But even if you haven't, this is definitely one you can accomplish yourself at home, and we're going to walk you through the process right now. So for that, let's head on out to the shop.
For this install, you need a 3/8 impact and ratchet, a hammer, a flathead screwdriver, a 21, 18, 17, 15, 13, and 10 millimeter socket, a 7/8, 16, and 13 millimeter wrench, and a clip removal tool. Also not shown will be a lift and floor jacks. All right, today we're going to be putting a lift kit on our F-250. First, we're going to watch a quick video how to uninstall the stock suspension, and we're going to come back here to install the new stuff.
First thing we're going to do is make sure we have our truck secure and safe. I jacked it up. We have it on a lift right now, but I do have a jack underneath the center of the rear, which you're going to need to do after you get it jacked up and supported, however you're doing that. If you're doing this in your driveway, you're going to want to use jack stands. So what I did was I have it on the lift here. I have a jack under the center of the rear to hold the rear up, because we're going to be loosening the suspension up so we can drop the rear down so we can remove our coil springs. So you want to just make sure you jack it up high enough when you put your jack stands under. That way you can get your jack in the center of the rear. And then we'll start removing our suspension here. We'll start by removing our brake hose, our shock, our sway bar, and then we'll be able to take our jack and start lowering the rear down. So let's jump into this, and we'll start removing our upper bracket here for our brake hose. So first thing we're going to do is remove this 13 millimeter bolt here. I'm going to take my 3/8 gun with my 13 millimeter socket, remove this bolt right here. And once we get that bolt out and removed, we'll be able to drop the brake hose down. And you're going to want to repeat this same procedure on the other side, because it's going to allow us that both sides are going to have to be undone so that we can drop the rear out. So now we're going to remove our shock bolt right down here. I'm going to take a breaker bar with an 18 millimeter socket and break this loose. It is on there pretty tight. And once I get it loose, I will take my 3/8 gun with my 18 millimeter on, get in place. And then I'll ratchet this the rest of the way out. I'm gonna take my 1/2-inch drive now with my 18 millimeter on it and just ratchet this out the rest of the way. So now we have that out. You're going to want to repeat that procedure on the other side too. And now we'll go up to our sway bar. So now we're going to remove our sway bar nuts right here. There's one here and then one right here. I'm going to take my 15 millimeter, my 3/8 gun, loosen these up, then loosen the other side up, then we'll drop the sway bar down. So now you're going to want to repeat that on the opposite side. So now I have the other side disconnected too. I'm just going to pull our sway bar down. You're going to want to be careful. This thing can be a little bit heavy, but it should just fall down just like that, which will allow our rear to drop down then. So now we're going to take our clip removal tool. We're going to pop off this clip here. This is going to allow the rear to hang down. It's kind of pulling tight on this already. So I'm just going to pop this off. Pretty much like that. Get that out of the way. And then our vent tube on our rear here, I'm just going to twist and pull up and remove that. That will allow our rear to hang down when we start letting the jack down. So now we have everything disconnected, our shock, our front sway bar links on both sides. I have my shock removed on that side. I unhooked our connectors here for our vent tube. Our brake lines are disconnected. We're going to be able to take our jack and just start lowering the rear down. That's going to loosen up these springs and let these springs come out, and then we'll remove our springs. So now we have our rear drop down. We're going to be able to easily grab our spring, pick it up, and remove it right out of the location. So now that I have our coil spring removed, we're just going to look at our pad down here and notice that there is a notch right here where my finger is. This notch is where when we put the coil spring back in, you're going to want to make sure that the bottom of the coil rests down inside here so that you don't want to have it spun around because it is meant to seat in here so it doesn't spin. So just make sure when you put it back together, you put the bottom of the coil right into there. You'll see it fits right into that slot. So now we're going to remove our bump stop. I'm going to get up in here with a screwdriver, pry this baby out, like so. Now we're going to remove our cup that holds the bump stop in. I'm going to take my 10 millimeter on my 3/8 gun, get up inside here. There's a nut, or a bolt, I should say, right here. We're going to remove that. Now you're going to want to just repeat this uninstall procedure on the other side.
All right, now that we have everything out of our way, we're going to start installing our new parts. We're going to start with our shock spacer. So you're going to see the skinnier part with the brace in the middle. They'll go through the factory mount. Now there's a little bit of a tight fit, so we're going to use a rubber mallet. Just smack that in place. All right, now that we have that lined up, we're just gonna put our factory bolt back through with our nut plate. Now we can just leave that loose for right now because it will pivot a little bit when we get our shock lined up. Next, we're gonna put on our bump stop spacer. So we have our factory plate. You'll see on our spacer, there'll be a hole in the bottom. It's gonna line up with this tab here. Gonna line that up. Grab our longer 13 millimeter bolt with a flat washer. Put that through. Just gotta thread that back into our factory location. Just grab a ratchet and a 13 millimeter socket, tighten that down. can get our bump stop and just tap it into place. Now we have our sway bar bracket spacer. So we're just gonna go over our factory studs. First, we have a couple bolts and washers that we're gonna put in place first, just because it is a little difficult to fit them in when it's on there. Now the bottom, you're gonna see this big hole. That's gonna be for the back side so you can tighten down the factory stud. We're gonna put our bolts through like that. And then we'll put this over our factory studs and install our factory nuts. All right, so we're gonna grab our ratchet with our 15mm socket and tighten down our factory nuts. All right, so now we have to get our brake line extension bracket on. So it's gonna go in place of the factory one here, and the factory one's gonna mount down here. Now we're gonna have a bolt come through the backside like that with a flat washer. But first, before we do that, we're just gonna need to carefully just bend our brake lines so we can straighten it out so it can reach down to where our new bracket is. Sorry, it's actually going to go that. So we just need to bring it down about an inch. Set that aside for right now. Just gonna carefully just bend our line down. Just wanna make sure when you're doing this, it's not going to interfere with anything else or rub against another line. So we will get our mount lined up with our factory bolt here. Get our bolt and wash it through the backside. And that top hole is for our locking tab. And then we have another flat washer and a locking nut. And then once we get this tightened down, we could just fine tune the location. As you can see, it is a little pushed over towards the spring. We're gonna grab our 13mm wrench and a ratchet with a 13mm socket, tighten that down. All right, and tighten down our factory bolt. All right, now we're gonna get our spring and spacer in location. So we have our spacer here. You'll see that it slides down into the mount there. I'm gonna put it up top first and then get our spring over. Make sure you correctly orient the spring so that it hits the stopper down at the bottom. Once you have that done on this side, you can go ahead and do the same thing on the other side for all the brackets and the spring, and then we can raise the axle up and tighten everything down. All right, now I'm just gonna raise the front axle up evenly with both of our jacks here. While going up, you just wanna make sure that the shocks stay in the brackets and in location. You wanna get those shocks lined up and then we can get our bolts through. All right, now that we got our shock lined up, we're gonna grab our new bolt, put a flat washer through. If you need to, give it a little tap, just get through the other side. We're gonna put another flat washer and our nut. Now we can tighten both these bolts down here. All right, so we're gonna tighten our top bolt first. So we have a 7/8 wrench to hold the nut on the back side and our ratchet with a 21mm socket to tighten it. Then we'll switch back to our 18mm socket and tighten our bottom bolt. All right, now we're gonna get our sway bar mounts up. We already have the other side just up with the nuts threaded on just to make it a little bit easier, because this is kind of awkward and heavy to fight. But now that we have it lined up on the other side, we can just get our flat washers and locking nuts onto our new studs. Now that we got those threaded on, we're gonna use a 16mm wrench to hold the heads, and a ratchet and a 17mm socket to tighten our nuts. All right, once you have everything tightened up over here, you can go ahead and repeat those same steps on the other side, and then we can lower our jacks up out of the way. And that wraps up our install of our Mammoth 2.5-inch front leveling kit for our 2011 and newer 4-wheel drive F250 Super Duty. And for everything F250, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.